Dear students, now we will start unit number 3, that is relativistic mechanics. And now we will start the main topic of this unit, and that is Michelson Morley experiment. Michelson Morley experiment. This experiment was performed in 19th century, and at that time it was considered that there was a medium, that is hypothetical medium. It was considered at that time that a medium that is named that was named ether, it whole universe was filled by this ether medium, and the properties of this medium should be: number 1, this medium was light medium; second, the whole universe filled by this medium, and this medium is perfectly transparent. Third, negligible density. The density of this medium was negligible, it was considered at that time. And fourth, any body, even earth, can move inside this medium without any problem, without any obstacle, and this medium will not move with the body. This is, it was considered at that time for this medium, and there will be no effect of the gravity on this medium, and even this medium should be massless. This medium will be massless, and these are the properties which was considered at that time by the physicist. And Michelson and Morley performed this experiment to find out the existence of this medium. They want to find out that medium uh, exists or not, and to prove the existence of this medium they performed that experiment, that is known as Michelson Morley experiment. So, by the help of this experiment we understand that this medium was uh, was exist or not, and this experiment depends upon the property of Michelson interferometer. This is a monochromatic source. Now we will draw the diagram of this experiment. This is a monochromatic light, and this light, this is convex lens. This light incident on a, this is partially silvered plate, incident on a partially silvered plate, and this plate is inclined at 45 degree. When the light ray is incident on this partially silvered plate, some part of the light ray are refracted and some part are reflected. This is mirror M1 and this is mirror m2, and as the light ray incident on the mirror, they reflect back, and after reflect back they coincide at this point, we can consider P, and there will be a superposition of these two coherent waves. These waves will be considered like coherent waves, and these coherent waves superimpose at this point, and we can see a interference phenomena by the help of telescope. This is a telescope, and it is considered that this experiment is performed on a frame of reference, and suppose this frame of reference is moving with velocity v. V represents the velocity of frame, and it was considered that this frame was moving by the earth with respect to universe. It means this experiment is moving by the velocity of earth, and we know that velocity of earth is 3 into 10 to the power 4 meter per second. So, it was considered that by with respect to universe, this experiment is moving by 3 into 10 to the power 4 meter per second, and as the experiment is moving in this direction, this mirror also move in this direction. This mirror will be shifted. Suppose it is shifted at m2 dash, this mirror shifted at m1 dash after some time, and suppose the light ray move towards the m1 mirror, it should be move in this direction and reflect back like this. When it move towards m1, it reflect back in the same direction, but if it move towards the m1 dash, then it reflect back like this. This is reflected ray, and now P is shifted at point P dash. This is the partially silvered plate. When m1 shifted at m1 dash, m2 shifted at m2 dash, now P shifted at P dash. The distance of this point P of m1, it will be L, and distance of point P to m2, it is again L. The distance of m2 and m1 mirror from point P are same, and mirror m1 and mirror m2 are perpendicular to each other. Now, we calculate the time of light ray from point P to m2 and m2 to P, the time covered by the light ray from P to m2 and m2 to P, and suppose this is T2, this is T2. Suppose first we calculate the time covered by the light ray from P to m2, and it should be T2 dash. We can consider the time covered from P to m2, that is T2 dash, and it should be length upon length and distance L upon velocity, and velocity should be c minus v. The velocity of light ray from P to m2, that is c, and in this direction light ray is moving in this direction by velocity c, and frame is also moving in the same direction by velocity v. So, relative velocity of one with respect to another, it should be c minus v. So, we consider that the light ray with respect to frame is moving by the velocity of c minus v. So, we consider that distance upon time, that is L upon c minus v. This is the time of light ray from P to m2, and time of light ray from m2 to p, we can consider t2 double dash, and it should be distance again m2 to p, distance is again p, and velocity. Now, frame is moving in this direction and light ray is moving from m2 to p. Now, direction becomes this. Frame again is moving in this direction, this is v, and the light ray is reflect back, it means it should move by velocity c. So, it becomes opposite to each other, c plus v. We know that when both are moving in same direction, then it should be c minus v, and if these are moving in opposite direction, it becomes c plus v. So, total time if we consider t2, it should be t2 dash plus t2 double dash. This is the time of light ray if we consider this is second light ray and this is first light ray, or we can consider it is first light ray. Now, T2 should be equal to L upon C minus V plus L upon C plus V, or we can say C minus V into C plus V, L into C plus V plus L into C minus V. We can write LC plus LV plus LC minus LV upon C square minus V square, LC plus LV plus LC minus LV. LV cancel out and it becomes twice LC upon C square minus V square, and if we divided by C square, it becomes, if we divided by numerator and denominator by C square, it becomes twice LC upon C square minus V square upon C square, and it becomes twice L, 1 C cancel out, upon C square 1 minus V square upon C square. It becomes twice L upon C, 1 minus V square upon C square, or we can write twice L upon C, 1 minus V square upon C square to the power minus 1. This is T2, time T2. And now, we want to calculate the time of light ray from P to M1, P2 M1 dash and M1 dash to P, and suppose this is T1. Suppose time taken from P to M1 dash and M1 dash to P dash, it should be T1, and it should be equal to time taken from P to M1 dash should be equal to the time taken from M1 dash to P dash. So, we can calculate by the help of this triangle P M1 M1 dash. If we take this triangle P M1 M1 dash, and it should be equal to P M1 dash square, P M1 dash square should be equal to P M1 dash square equal to P M1 square plus M1 dash square, and P M1 dash means the light ray is moving from P to M1 dash by velocity c, and suppose time taken from P to M1 dash is t dash. So, this distance P1 dash becomes c into t dash square. This is the value of P1 dash. P1 dash should be velocity c and time should be t dash c t dash, and distance of P to M1 we can consider it L, it becomes L square plus M1 to M1 dash. The mirror is shifted from M1 to M1 dash by velocity v, this is velocity of frame, and the time taken by the mirror M1 to M1 dash is again T dash. It should be same when the light ray reached from P to M1 dash at time T dash, it should be the timing of shifting of mirror M1 to M1 dash. So, M1 M1 dash should be velocity v and time T dash square. It means we can write c square T dash square equal to L square plus v square T dash square, or we can say c square T dash square minus v square T dash square equal to L square, or c square minus v square into T dash square equal to L square, and T dash square it should be L square upon c square minus v square, or we can write T dash equal to L upon under root c square minus v square. This is the time taken from P to M1 dash, and time of light ray from M1 dash to P dash it should be again T dash. So, time taken from P to M1 dash and M1 dash to P dash, which we have considered T1 should be equal to twice of T dash, or we can say twice L upon under root c square minus v square. And if we take c square common in this term, then we can write twice L upon c under root 1 minus v square upon c square. Now, we have taken c square common and out from this root, it becomes twice L upon c under root 1 minus v square upon c square, or we can write twice L upon c 1 minus v square upon c square to the power minus half. This is the time taken from by light ray 1 and time taken by light ray 2, it is this twice L upon c 1 minus v square upon c square to the power minus 1. Now, we want to determine the time difference. Suppose it is delta t, and delta t time difference it should be T1 T2 minus T1, time difference T2 minus T1, and T2 is twice L upon c 1 minus v square upon c square to the power minus 1 minus twice L upon c 1 minus v square upon c square to the power minus half. This is the difference between time taken by ray 2 and time taken by ray 1, and it should be delta t equal to twice L upon c 1 minus v square upon c square to the power minus 1 minus 1 minus v square upon c square to the power minus half. And now, we apply the theorem here, and we know that 1 plus x to the power n, it should be equal to 1 plus nx if x is very less than 1. Here c square is 9 into 10 to the power 16 and v square is 9 into 10 to the power 8. It means v square upon c square is very less than 1. It means it should be 1 minus v square upon c square to the power minus 1. It should be equal to 1 minus 1 into minus v square upon c square, 1 plus v square upon c square. We can write 1 minus v square upon c square to the power minus 1, 1 plus v square upon c square, and ignoring higher terms in this expansion, and we can write 1 minus v square upon c square to the power minus half is equal to 1 plus half v square upon c square. And if we put the value of these two terms in this equation, time difference becomes delta t equal to twice L upon c 1 plus v square upon c square minus 1 plus 1 minus minus minus, it becomes minus v square upon 2 c square, and 1 cancel out, twice L upon c v square upon c square minus v square upon 2 c square, and delta t equal to twice L upon c v square upon c square minus v square upon 2 c square, it becomes v square upon 2 c square, and 2 cancel out, it becomes v square L upon c cube. Now, if we want to calculate the path difference, between light ray 1 and 2, delta p. We want to determine the path difference between light ray 1 and 2, and this delta p should be velocity into time difference. This path difference should be equal to velocity into time difference, and it becomes delta p equal to c into time difference. We have determined v square L upon c cube, v square L upon c cube, and it becomes v square L upon c square. This is the path difference between these two rays. And we know that if we want to determine the shift in fringes due to this path difference, we know that it becomes, we know that suppose this is light ray and this distance is lambda, and if a light ray covered this path lambda, then there is a shifting of one shift. And before doing this, Michelson and Morley shift this experiment by 90 degree. This is experiment, this is the diagram of experiment, and the whole experiment Michelson and Morley shift by 90 degree. And after that, after doing this, this delta p becomes minus delta p, and effective path difference, suppose delta p dash, if we consider effective path difference delta p dash, it becomes delta p minus delta p, or we can say twice delta p. The effective path difference, after rotating this experiment by 90 degree, the path difference becomes minus delta p, and the effective path difference becomes delta p minus delta p, or we can say twice delta p, and this effective path difference becomes twice. We have determined the path difference between two rays v square L upon c square. So, it becomes 2 v square L upon c square. This is the effective path difference, and we have discussed already that if there is a path covered or difference lambda by the light ray, then there is a shifting of one fringe. So, we can say number of fringing, number of fringe shifting due to this effective path difference 2 v square L upon c square, it should be twice v square L upon c square lambda. One fringe is shift due to the cover of lambda path. So, how many fringe shift due to the path difference of 2 v square upon c 2 v square L upon c square, it should be 2 v square L upon c square lambda. This is the shifting in number of fringes. And in this experiment, we know that value of v is 3 into 10 to the power 4 meter per second, and the value of length, the actual length of experiment at that time, it was considered 11 meter, and we know that the value of c is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second, and lambda is about 5500 angstrom. They had taken at that time, and they calculate, if we consider it is delta n 2 v square is 3 into 10 to the power 4 square into 11 upon c square means 3 into 10 to the power 8 c square, and lambda 5500 angstrom means minus 10, and after solving it, the value is only 0.4, and it represents that after rotating the whole experiment by 90 degree, the not a single fringe is shifted, or we can say that there is no shift in fringe when this experiment is rotated by Michelson and Morley by 90 degree, which they want to show the relativity, and they rotate this experiment by 90 degree. There is no shift, not a single fringe is shifted, that represents there is no shifting of fringe. And at that time, this experiment was performed at a block of stone, and that stone was floated on a mercury, and they considered that this when they rotate this experiment, there was no working of friction, and they do this experiment frequently, many times, and they had done this experiment many times in a day, many times in a month, and many times in a year. But there was no change in the shifting, no change in the fringe shift. It means they could not prove that there is a relative change when they rotate this experiment, and in last they said that this experiment is disapproved.